Something simple, something I'm just not seeing on there. Okay, so what we're going to look at in this section is we're going to look at the what we call a matrix. Okay, and we're going to kind of look at a lot of terminology on this today to start with. So this section's got a lot of terminology in it. It doesn't have a whole lot of math in it where you're calculating, but it has a lot of terminology. Okay, so what a matrix is it's just an array of numbers, a rectangular array. It has a certain number of rows and a certain number of columns. We call it an M by N matrix. I'll explain what that is in just a minute. And we have a couple other things. If you have a matrix that has the same number of rows and columns, it's called a square matrix. Now, what I'm going to do down below is just kind of try to get you going on the vocabulary first of all here. Okay? So, down here, let's just kind of look at this. So, this would be a matrix. Usually you use like brackets, and then you have a set of numbers in there. Okay? So, this particular matrix right here has 3 rows, right? There's 1, 2, 3 rows, and then it has 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So what we would say is it's a 3 by 4 matrix. The first thing the students got to learn is how do you know what the size of a matrix is? It's just how many rows, how many columns. That's what that means. Now, if you look at this element, that's going to represent a number. Okay, when it says A11, that just means you're in row 1 and you're in column 1. Okay, that's where that is located. Okay, the next one says A34. That means you're going to be in row 3 and you're going to be in column 4, like that. Okay, and that's all this stuff means. It's real logical the way we do this. So like that A22. What does A22 mean? Row 2, column 2. A13 means row 1, column 3. Everybody with me there? Okay, so you got to know the number of rows and the number of columns tells you what the size of a matrix is, and you have to do that before you can really work with matrices then. Okay? All right, let's just kind of do these together right here. All right, so how many rows does this problem have? Okay, so it has 2 rows. How many columns? 3 columns. So what is the size of the matrix? 2 by 3. Okay, that's it. It's always in that order too. Okay? All right. And then the next one right here, the problem right here says 0 is in the element. So look at the 0. What row is 0 in? 1. What column is it in? 3. Okay, so that's where that's located. All right. How about the 9? What is it located in? Row 2, column 2. Okay. All right. Let's do the next one just kind of together and get this kind of out of the way here. All right, next problem, how many rows? 3 rows. How many columns?
2.
So what's the size? 3 by 2. Okay, in that order. So it's a 3 by 2 matrix. Okay. A22. Okay, which number would be in row 2, column 2 in this problem? That would be the 7. Okay. Again, that's just kind of vocabulary here is what we're doing. Okay, the next one is A31. You're in row 3. Column 1, which number is there? Okay, the 2 is. Okay, so that element would be 2 like that. Okay, everybody with me okay? Just definition stuff. Okay, go start on this stuff this way. Okay, how about the next one? What do you think the size of this matrix would be?
1 by 4.
1 by 4, right. It's got 1 row and it's got 4 columns. So that is a 1 by 4 matrix. Okay, you would name this like this. The -1, you would say it's in row 1, column 1. Okay, so that's what that one is. That -1 is A11. The -3, that would be a row 1, column 3. Okay, so you just got to know the system of naming that we're doing on a matrix to start with. Does anybody have a question so far? Okay, you got to know what the size is. That's the most important thing on the matrix is what the size is. Okay. All right. So on the next page, and we're going to do a lot of just kind of simple definition stuff here at the beginning. What we're going to ultimately learn how to do is how to do a system of equations with a matrix on your calculator. So you can go boom, boom, and get everything in and get it solved that way with technology. Okay. So this is a system of equations. We've learned how to solve this by graphing, substitution, and addition. What we have is a coefficient matrix. The coefficient matrix just means you take the x's and y's and you put the numbers in front. So that would be 2, -4, 1, 1. Both the x and y have 1's in front of it. So that's called the coefficient matrix. The constant matrix is what it's equal to. So that would be the 10 and 0 like that. Okay, when you do what's called an augmented matrix, is what we're going to do is it just goes basically like this then. You just put the first row, 2, -4, 10, 1, 1, 0. Then you put that bar there to represent the equal sign, like that. That's called a augmented matrix. That's what we're going to learn how to work with on our calculator here a little bit today, okay? So most of the stuff we're going to start off in this section is just knowledge level stuff, okay? All right, these are going to be super easy to do. So let's put this together then. So when you do the augmented matrix, all you do is the coefficient. So what would row 1 be?
1 and 5.
-1, 5, -7. Row 2? 0.5, -1, 12. And then put your bar there. Okay, that's the augmented matrix. Okay. When you get to this next one, you got to be kind of careful because there's some missing variables in it. So you have to kind of pay attention to that. What's the first row going to be? 1, 1, 1, 0. Okay, so that's clear enough. Okay, how about the second row?
1, 0.
Okay, it's got an x, so x is 1, y is 1. There isn't a z there, so you have to put a 0 there. Then you put the 10. So if you have a missing variable, you got to have a 0 there. And then the last one, you would have 2. You don't have a y, so you put a 0 there. Then you have -4, -1 like that. Put the bar where your equal sign is like that. So you do have to keep up with everything. Make sure when you do an augmented matrix that you have a column for x, a column for y, a column for z if you have 3 variables. That's the idea. So we call that an augmented matrix. What we're going to learn is a little bit later here today is what to do with that on a calculator. Okay? All right, everybody with me there? Okay? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a 10-minute break right now. I'll go ahead, come back at 5 till. Okay, I'm going to look at that word problem real quick, and then we'll start on kind of the calculations and how this stuff works on a calculator. This is a fairly short section, and it will be one of the easier sections, I think, for you to learn because it's all vocabulary.